I'd like to call this meeting back to order.
I know. That was
Do I
great.
have everyone?
That was just great. We were feeling such pride, you
I
know.
know, I was teaching in Fairfax County at that time. At the beginning.
You got 4,
Okay.
5. David's coming.
We are on item number 9, information. Item A is Edulog Parent Portal Implementation, Appendix E. Eddie Anderson.
All right. Thank you. Before I do anything, I want to introduce a couple of people that are here with me. Derek Graham is with Edulog and has been working very closely with us to make this implementation as smooth and successful as possible. You know Ken Nance, Director of Transportation. And so we're here to talk about Edulog's parent portal, which really is to improve communication and empower parents. The parent portal is an app you download on your smartphone, and it's very easy to use. You register, you log in, and you add your student information. It's instant, and you can be up and using the program very quickly. Our goal with this app is to provide important information to parents and, like I said, improve our communication with parents. It puts essential student transportation information directly in their hands. It also gives parents access to transportation information as far as what their bus route is, where their drop-off pickup location is, and bus number. Parents can be confident in the information they receive because it's coming from the real-time tracking app or GPS system, and it gives parents, it lets them know when the bus is entering alert zones that they can set up and customize. It also allows transportation to push notifications to parents via text messaging through the app. And so this will not replace our call notifications that we do at transportation. So if you don't have the app and you're not using the app, you're not missing out. We're still going to call you and let you know if there's been a bus substitution or a delay. But it's just one more tool that we can use in transportation to, again, better communicate and inform our parents. Last spring, actually, we did a small pilot project using Parent Portal at Parsley, and it was very successful. We had overwhelming positive feedback. The district-wide rollout is November, December, and January. November is testing, education, training. We're entering our soft rollout, and our go-live date will be January 2nd. In November, specifically, some of the things that we did, a lot of internal planning and testing of the app. Transportation developed content for their webpage, including some frequently asked questions. We also reached out through Edulog to other districts to see how the rollout went in their areas and what were some of the questions and challenges that they faced, so that we could go ahead and troubleshoot those, address them early, and then get that information on the website for parents. We attended the November principals meeting. We know when we roll out any new program, parents are going to have a lot of questions. We wanted to provide information and resources to our principals so that they could answer those questions, and maybe more importantly, so that they could provide that information and resources to their staff and teachers, who are often the first ones questioned. New Hanover County Schools TV studio did a great video, which I'm going to show you, and we've been working on some media stories as well. December is what we're calling our soft rollout, and I'll explain that. It starts with tonight. This is the very beginning of our soft rollout. It's where we really make this app available to the public and known to the public. In December, it's all about education and information. You know, we want to educate our parents and provide them with the information they need to download the app and start using it. I know we're going to have some questions. I know we're going to have parents that are going to call up because they can't get the app to work. So we want to use this month to troubleshoot those and provide the assistance that we can and respond to those questions and comments so that we can be prepared for the rollout date or the go live date of January 2nd. We're asking parents that you can download it, you can start using it immediately, just don't rely on it 100% until January 2nd. We're all going to be working together for that go live date. Again, we're providing support and resources to our principals. We're going back to the principals meeting later this week to give them an update and provide additional information. We've got a Connect 5 call going out to all parents this week, and to give them just a heads up to expect this information to come home with their students. That will also provide in English and Spanish very detailed step-by-step instructions for the parents to download the app and install on their phone and start using it. If it doesn't make it home for some reason, I know personally that doesn't always happen, that information will also be on the transportation website. So if someone is calling, we can refer them to that site for the same information. We'll also be going out with a media story and pushing out information through social media and video. Again, the go live date is January 2nd. So when we return for the holidays and start our second semester, this app will be up and live. Now I'll show you a quick video that we're going to be using to share this.
Hey parents, NHCS is excited to bring you school bus information you can access on your smartphone. EduLog's Transportation Parent Portal app will help you quickly and easily find your student's bus stop location and bus arrival time. It's easy to set up and a great way to be informed about your student's bus ride to and from school. On your first login, add your student and create a personalized profile for them. Be sure to have handy your school's district or power school ID, which will be needed to complete the profile. You can find this number on your student's report card or by going to the school in person. Then finding your student's school is as easy as searching for the name of the school on the menu or by using the map icon. You will add in the district or power school ID and also your child's date of birth. Once you have provided all the necessary information, you will submit your request for access to your child's transportation information. Approval is immediate and will be indicated next to your student list within the app. If you have received a rejection, please recheck the information you entered for accuracy. Within your app, under Students Information, the menu item Transportation Schedule is where your student's bus schedule can be found. In the days of the week, they can be accessed simply. Click the arrow for the specific day to view the schedule. As a reminder, your child must be at the designated bus stop 10 minutes prior to the scheduled time for bus pickup. And this time is subject to change. You can also set your phone to receive notifications. Click on Settings and turn on Notifications. Then turn on notifications under each student's trip. Drag the slider to increase or decrease the distance between the bus and your student's stop to be notified. It is recommended to set this distance at 0.5, half a mile. We hope this information will be a helpful and easy way for parents to have important and useful information. Should you have questions about your student's bus information or the new EduLog Transportation Parent Portal app, please contact the NHCS Transportation Department.
So thank you for being part of our kickoff. Like I said, this will be rolling out this month. We're going to get this video out to everyone, and I thank you, the TV studio, for doing a great job with that video. Be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, sorry. So this is basically connecting, after you go through the process, connecting the child's, the parent's phone, I believe, with the bus GPS, so, or some kind of informational sharing, so they can see the progress of the bus along its route. I mean, that's basic.
It does, when you enter the specific student information through Edulog and TIMS, every student is assigned to a bus. And so this application will allow you to track the bus that the student is assigned to.
So it's the actual bus on the actual day,
On
every
the
day.
actual
That's
day,
great.
actual route.
Thank
So you can see where it is that day.
All of our buses already have GPS.
Right, I'm just,
So this just is a way for parents to access that.
because I know, I think I've already said that my grandkids that live in Raleigh, they have it, they love it, they love it. And you said it was a different company, but similar. I just wanted to make sure
Same,
how
yeah.
similar it was.
Similar product. Since we're using Edulog with our GPS system, it makes sense for us. This is just an extension of that contract with them.
Eddie, where do you find, how does a parent get their student's ID number?
Well, the student ID number is the ID number that you would use in Power School, the K-12 lunch program. So you may already have that. If you don't, it's printed on the report cards that are sent home. And if you don't have your report card, then you will have to go to the school in person and to show proper ID for the school to release that to you.
Yeah, and from having kids that live, the kids know it. All the kids know their IDs. I mean, ask your child.
Edulog has access to this information once it goes into the system?
Well, yeah, they're a third-party vendor that tie into the TIMS system, and so they I don't know what the proper term is, but yeah, they
have access to the
yes,
student's
they
personal
link
information.
up. They do have access to the student name and the student ID.
I mean, I have obvious, I think it's a great idea. I just have some obvious reservations about that sensitive information being available to a third party.
Well, and we, part of the delay in getting this this out, we had hoped to get it out earlier, is making sure that connection was through a very secure connection, and working out those details with our technology department and with Edulog.
It's also an
We're
opt-in
also,
process, but you have to, as a parent, opt into putting your student's ID into the app.
in our TIMS, our Transportation Information Management System, developed by Edulog, but it's managed by North Carolina State University. So we have other people going into that system already, very similar to what we do with Power School and our K-12 lunch program and other programs. The critical thing is to make sure that that's done in a secure manner, and that it's not available to just anyone.
I may have missed this, but why do they need the child's age?
The child's age.
Birthday?
The
Why
birthday,
do they need that?
It matches to make sure that we have the correct student, and so you identify that student, and then it's going to give you the ability to track that the bus that student's assigned to. So the student's name, their age, their ID number. And plus, if someone calls and we're having trouble, everything has to match exactly. And that's probably going to be the biggest issue, because someone puts a space in a name that's not there, someone enters a date wrong, it's got to match exactly. And so the more information that we have, the better we're able to help them and assist them in figuring out what's wrong. All right. Thank you.
Item number 10, Superintendent's Report.
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. One is a bus item, two bus items. Currently, we now have, Eddie, correct me if I'm wrong, 20 drivers who are now signed up and going through training?
didn't hear you.
So, Ken, we've got about 20 drivers now in the pipeline, in the latest class that started. Yeah. So, that'll be good. As soon as we can get them through, we'll bring them on board, start using them as monitors on the bus, and hopefully as quick as we can get them through the DOT pipeline, get them on the bus.
How, is that about an average size class, or is that larger than we've had in the
A
past?
little bit larger. Again, 19 will start. It won't be quite as many who finish, but hopefully we can fill our vacancies and pick up a couple of sub-drivers as well. Second piece related to buses is have some conversations with board members and Eddie, and I'm going to recommend that we make a slight time change at Holly Shelter and adjust the time by about 10 minutes. And that would, we hope, will alleviate some of the issues around late buses at Holly Shelter, which seems to be our most problem school. I'm going to ask Jane to talk to her staff about that and just get some input. Doesn't require board action, but I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware we're considering that.
So you're talking about adjusting the school time
Correct.
in the afternoon or in the morning, or both?
Both.
Is that earlier or later, out of curiosity?
About 10 minutes later is what we're looking at.
For both in the morning and, okay.
Yes.
It gives Trask bus drivers, if they're only driving one bus route and we need them to cover something at Holly Shelter, it creates a bigger disparity between Trask and Holly Shelter. So they can deliver their first bus route at Trask, and if they're needed at Holly Shelter, jump on a second Holly Shelter. So this way, that's where we're having, I think, the majority of the problems.
Good idea.
As a,
It's not a permanent solution, and you never know if it's going to work, but it's something at least that we can try.
yeah, so we're going to look at starting that after Christmas, but I got to give the school time to notify staff and parents if they need to make any adjustments.
And have you studied the times? Is 10 minutes sufficient?
It's actually 15, right?
15.
Isn't Trask start earlier than Holly Shelter?
Yeah, but Trask starts 10 minutes earlier.
Okay, so it's 20 minute.
Yeah, so it's a
Trask starts 10 minutes early because of the traffic congestion there with Laney, and so it actually gives us a 20-minute break. So, and plus, the district for Trask is relatively small, so you've got shorter bus runs, and so our goal really is not to, if we have a delay, we may be able to avoid it if they run a second route, but at least the delay won't be as long. We're having some long delays in our afternoons, especially from Holly Shelter, and I think this will take care of most of that.
Yeah, so I appreciate the board members that gave me the input on that. I mean, that was, came from you guys, so anytime we can solve problems. Next, this was the first board meeting since we had what was Bikes for Kids at Freeman. You may have seen some of the information on that. That's a nonprofit group that gave a bike to every third grader at Snipes and Freeman as part of a character education component. They had to do some lessons and things. Two great ceremonies. I attended one, Dr. Smith attended the other. Thanks to Dr. Jethro for being our in-house lead on that. They want to expand to add more Title I schools next year. But it was just a truly great program. If you get a chance next year when we do that to see that, I would recommend that you. What?
Who is it?
Dr. Jethro, who was the person, who was the group,
It was the Bikes for Kids organization, and they came and spoke to Dr. Markley and I. We supplied them with a list of our Title I schools, and they get sponsors. So they work down the list of Title I schools in rank order according to how many they can sponsor.
Yep.
So Snipes and Freeman were chosen this year.
and they want to come back and do fourth grade next year at Snipes and Freeman and add some additional schools. One last thing, just sort of a follow-up from our conversation. Title I schools get a lot of different resources, and I sometimes don't think that everyone understands what those resources are. So I'm going to task Dr. Jethro to work with finance and the folks in instruction to let you know what those additional programs are, what the staffing looks like at those schools. Because if we're going to have a conversation about what we're doing in these schools, we got to have our baseline and where we are. So I'd like to put that on our agenda for January, and we'll provide you sort of a baseline of what a Title I school looks like, what are they getting, that non-Title I schools aren't getting, so we can have that conversation about if there are resources we need to add to these schools, what they look like.
And if you give an explanation, a clearer one to everybody about exactly how you qualify for a Title I school, and the list of the schools that are, and there are different resources for different schools, correct? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's what you're gonna be coming up with?
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
provide
good.
that. We'll also talk about staffing patterns at those schools.
Okay.
So the conversation's good, but like I said, if we're gonna have that conversation, we need to have an established baseline of where we're starting from.
Good idea.
That's it, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Item 11, Board Chairperson's Report. I just have 2 items. The work session that we had talked about for January 21st, I just wanted to make sure, I think we had one person that said they could not make it. So I wanted to see if we could look at alternate dates. So if you all could look at your calendars. I think it was Mr. Boyer, are you not able to make it on that date?
It's, my wife and I are celebrating our 15-year anniversary, and we're going on vacation.
What day is that on?
It's the Tuesday.
But hey, if we want to dissolve the vacation and the marriage all in one shot.
So if everyone can look at their calendars for possibly January 28th, if that is maybe a possibility, as an alternate date. So Tabitha, if you want to put an email out and see what response we get. And then again, just calling for agenda items. We do have some. But if anyone else would like to contribute, that would be great. And then the April 7th regular meeting falls during spring break. So I wanted to ask the board if we would like to entertain a motion to move that date to a non-spring break day, or if everyone is content leaving it on that day. What is the pleasure of the board?
It doesn't affect me at all.
I think it'd probably be best to move that.
I think it would probably affect participation, but I didn't know about anyone's plans, but I was thinking it might be better for the public to choose a day where everyone, most folks are probably going to make plans to be away.
Typically, we move it up to the next one, then that would be the 14th.
Okay. Is that acceptable to all the board members? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do we need to take an official motion for that? Make an official motion for that?
No, we'll warn the meeting, so.
Okay. All right, so April 14th it is. And that's all I have. Item number 12, committee reports. Are there any committee reports? I don't think any were turned in.
Not right now.
Okay. Item 13, consensus items. Item A, personnel, Appendix F. Dr. Welmers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Request the board approve the personnel matters as presented.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved. Item 14, old business. Item A, policy for second reading. Ms. Nichols?
And this is policy 6082, Employee Code of Ethics. And Dr. Welmers is going to explain the changes or the additions to this policy.
Thank you, Ms. Nichols. The main changes in this were looking at including texting when we look at employees connecting with students in any type of social media. We also added a statement to requesting that parents give permission before the students can connect. So that was the main change in the policy.
Good idea.
Is there any discussion? All right, if not, then I would entertain a motion to approve policy number 6082, Employee Code of Ethics.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved. Item number B, policy services, Appendix J. That has my name after it. This was an item that we discussed last month, and I believe we have received some more information about it, and it is a policy service that NCSBA does provide. And what I would like to do is, I believe we also received an additional email today from Janine Murphy, or actually from Mr. Bullard, further clarifying some information on it. And what I would like to ask is if the board would entertain the possibility of somebody from the SBA coming down to explain the services that they could provide, because I think that there's a lot of information. They could also explain how many districts use the service and what service they actually subscribe to. So would that be acceptable to the board?
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Very much so.
All right, so we'll try to arrange that for either January or February. So I guess there's no motion needed. Is that correct, Mr. Bullard?
That's correct.
Okay.
And you could have them at the work session or a regular meeting, since they're just
That-
providing information.
The work session would really be good, because give us more time to ask the questions.
Okay. All right, so we'll see if, Mr. Bullard, would you arrange that?
I'll be glad to.
Okay, thank you. Item number C, 2020-21 Curriculum Course Guide Revisions, Appendix L. Dr. Smith?
Yes, thank you. Each year, the New Hanover County Schools updates the district curriculum course guide with new policies, courses, and general information. We provide to every rising ninth grader a hard copy of this document, because that is the document for which they enter their high school. And for the most part, unless the State Board of Education makes significant changes, that is the curriculum course guide that they follow. For all other students, families in the community, we ensure that a digital copy is always updated on the district's website. So the packet in front of you represents the addition and deletions, and highlights the major changes to the upcoming 2020-2021 curriculum course guide. And we do have with us Mr. Travis Matthews, who is the person who is primarily in charge of updating this curriculum course guide with the input of counselors and teachers and administrators from across the district. And so he is here and available to answer any questions that you might have. But we would ask that you approve their curriculum course guide for the 2020-2021 school year.
Is there a motion to approve item number C?
Move to approve item C.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to item 15, new business. Item A, lease of activity bus to New Hanover County, Appendix M. Mr. Bullard?
Yes, the school board is the owner of an old activity bus that is not used for many years. The county asked to use the bus for emergency management purposes. They use it as a mobile command center during hurricanes and other natural disasters. The school board leased it to the county back in 2012 for $1 a year for 7 years. That lease has expired, and the county has asked that the school board renew the lease for another 7 years for $1 a year. The county has agreed to maintain the bus and keep it insured. There is a statute that requires the school board, when it leases its property to someone else for more than 1 year, to advertise the lease in the media for 30 days in advance of the vote. That was done in the Wilmington Star News. I'm not aware that we've received any comment or feedback in response to that notice. And so since the school board has no use for the old bus, I would recommend approving the renewal of the 7-year lease to the county.
Is there a motion to approve item A?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is approved. Thank you, Mr. Bullard. Moving on to item 16, correspondence. Does any board member have any correspondence they would like to share?
Yeah, I have a quick question. I received several letters, Eddie, about new equipment and buses, and I am curious as to why new bus drivers are put on a backlog, or new bus drivers often get the new buses. Is there a reason behind that policy, or, I don't know if you can answer now, but if we could discuss it, moving forward. Yeah, this was from a Miss Wendy, I can't think of her name, but, the complaint is that new bus drivers are getting the new buses. Is that a policy? Is that something that's happening? Do bus drivers have?
Yeah, I'm not, yeah.
Yeah, please. Oh,
Come help me out.
We assign buses based on attendance. We used to do it on years of service. We found out a lot of times years of service was not a good guideline for assigning new buses. So what we do is, if you don't miss more than 5 days, then it's given based on attendance. If you miss more than 5 days, then it's based on seniority. But again, we're trying to reward the drivers who come to work every day. We have a lot of drivers who don't miss any time at all. We did it based just strictly on how long you've been here. Then those best drivers, when it comes to attendance, may fall way down in the list of getting the newest buses. And again, we used to do that, but again, we felt it was unfair that the drivers that come to work every day got the oldest buses. We actually compromised because for a couple of years, we actually did it based strictly on attendance. And then I met with some drivers based on some feedback I got from a couple of the board members. And based on that, we said, okay, attendance is for the first 5 days. After the first 5 days of missing work, everything else is based on seniority. So it's not just based on the newest drivers, it's the newest drivers who come to work every day. But then the senior drivers, after anybody misses more than 5 days, then they get the newest buses that are left after that.
What do you mean by 5 days? Is that cumulative?
Whereas if you miss more than 5 days of work, then you fall in the group of seniority.
Is that 5 days of work for a year? Does it carry over?
No.
Or-
What it is that, first of all, the first group is those who have perfect attendance. No matter if you're a senior driver or a driver's only here 1 year, they get the newest buses. And then anybody that misses 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, then that's in the next group of who gets the newest buses. And after the first 5 days, if you miss any days beyond 5, then all that group is based on seniority.
I think what she was asking was, when do you calculate that?
Yeah, there you
Is it
go.
a
Thank you
rolling,
for putting-
is it a rolling calculation,
it's-
or is it done at the end of a year for the following year?
Every year for the following. In other words,
For every year is a different.
that's right, it's based on the previous year. But seniority does count, but it only counts when it comes to the drivers who have missed more than 5 days of work. Because whenever a driver's not there, we got kids standing on the side of the road. I realize there's good reasons people are out,
Right.
but it was our opinion that it actually improved attendance by doing this, for one thing, because people were encouraged to come to work. But on top of that, it helped us make sure that we don't have kids standing on the side of the road every day.
So, Mr. Boyer, I think it sounds like it's just the opposite. After attendance, you get priority for seniority, not
Sure.
the new bus driver.
Sure, but don't most bus drivers miss 5 days of work a year?
What's that again?
Don't most bus drivers miss more than 5 days a year?
No, we have a lot of drivers that miss no time whatsoever. But if it falls below that 5 days, then it's based on seniority. But if you're a senior driver and miss 2 days, then you're in that group based on attendance. And again, initially, years ago, it was based on seniority, but we found out, based on just looking at things, that we need to change that and base it on attendance, not just how long you've been here. Because you could have somebody here 30 years and miss 12, 14 days a year. So it was a way of rewarding people attending work, no matter if they were a senior driver or a driver been here 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, you said that you had quite a few people that weren't missing days, and so you have quite a few people that would be in the first pot before you do the seniority pot, correct?
Right.
How is that decided according to that group, people that attend, regularly and don't miss days? How do you decide who gets the buses then?
It's based if you had perfect attendance versus 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, or 5 days. I think it's maybe.
Let's say you had 10 people who had perfect attendance.
Right.
How do you divvy it up
Then
among
seniority becomes becomes the,
And then it's seniority.
seniority becomes, if you have 5 people who are all the same, I want to say 5 days, maybe 3 days, either five or 3, but if you had 10 people who were all, had perfect attendance, then that is decided based on seniority.
Okay, that makes sense, all right. That's clear, thank you.
So seniority is not totally excluded. It is included in the first 5 days based on everybody having the same thing. Then after those 5 days, it's all based on seniority.
Now, their buses, they're assigned to them year-long, correct?
What's that again?
They're assigned, the buses are assigned to them for the whole year?
Yes,
Okay, so this was decided at the beginning of each year,
Right.
from the year before?
right.
Well, can I ask this then? Say it's a whole year and a bus driver started in the middle of the year. Maybe that's where you're getting these letters and they have less opportunity to miss. Maybe somebody feels that there might be something. This is just a supposition,
Right.
why they might see that.
We consider that in how it's done. In other words, we don't, if somebody's only been there 3 months, didn't miss any time at the end of the school year, they don't get a new bus. Okay, you've got to serve the whole year.
Okay, good,
Okay.
thank you.
So,
Okay, just out of curiosity, just for the board, what's the average age of a bus? I mean, how often do we turn our buses over?
well, we don't turn them over to after 250,000 miles. Okay, so we have buses on the road right now that are 1999s, 1997s, and that's the state guideline. It's not our guideline. But our average bus is probably 9 or 10 years old.
Well, a lot of folks don't realize is that school buses are technically state-owned. We as a district really only pay for new buses, for new routes, and then the state will pick up the replacement on those buses after that. So that's why when you look at a bus, it'll say North Carolina Public Schools on there, because at the end of the day, they're technically the owner of those buses. And
Yep.
if there's an accident, a lot of that stuff a lot of that gets referred to the state. And Wayne can give you a better explanation on that than me.
But again, we try to be fair to the employees, but we feel like that seniority itself should not be the determining factor. It should be that in combination with coming to work every day. Okay, thank you.
Moving on to announcements. The Board of Ed will hold a special meeting on Tuesday, December 10th at 4:30. The only item on the agenda is a closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statutes 143-318-11A1 and 115C-402. The New Hanover County Board of Ed's Family Communications Committee will meet on Thursday, December 12th at 5 p.m. Right here in the Board of Ed Center. The New Hanover County Board of Ed's Title IX Committee will meet on Monday, December 16th at 3:30 in the Board of Ed Center. And the next regular meeting of the New Hanover County Board of Ed will be on Tuesday, January 7th, 2019 at 5:30 right here in the Board of Ed Center.
Madam Chair, can I make one edit to B, the B item? That Family Communications Committee is a roundtable discussion with the focus on multicultural language families, and it actually begins at 6 p.m.
All right. So item B, please reflect that it starts at 6.
Interesting topic.
Item 16, we have closed session, and Mr. Bullard, what are the statutes?
My understanding is that the purpose is to discuss a student matter and potentially a personnel matter, so the site would be General Statute 143-318.11A and subsections 1 and 6.
Is there a motion to go into closed session?
Move for closed session.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are in closed session.